Hello class, I'm working with your Pre-Algebra book 1.1 to 1.3. We're working with integers, which are positive and negative numbers and absolute value. Be able to draw a number line with your ruler and make your tick marks equidistant apart. Label your numbers, both in the positive and negative. If you're asked to plot and label your points, then you have A here at -5, make a neat dot at -5, label it A. B is at 8, label it B. C is at -9, label it C. And D is at 0, label it D. 0 is neither positive nor negative in value. Absolute value is defined as the distance of a number from 0 on the number line. So it's just how many units away is the number from 0, whether it's positive or negative. The answer will always be positive since it's just how many units away from 0 it is on the number line. There's a math notation that's a grouping symbol for absolute value. You see it here. It's two vertical lines. And anything in that grouping or that math notation is in the positive, denoting absolute value. The absolute value of -5 is 5 units from 0. The absolute value of -5 equals 5. The absolute value of +5 is also 5 units from 0. The absolute value of +5 is 5. So if you were asked about the absolute values of -3 to start, then the answer here would be that it is 3 units from 0. So it's a +3 even though it's a negative number inside the grouping. +8, you see it's 8 units from 0, +8 for the absolute value. We're going to work with some positive and negative numbers and equations for just adding and subtracting, and this is just to give you a base information, just some base equations to work from. So the blue chip will represent a +1, and the red chip will represent a -1. And together a positive blue chip plus a negative red chip will cancel each other out. We could call those zero pairs, and they would equal 0. So you can see that +1 and -1 will come back to 0. Alright, let's look at these ideas. So, if you have 4 blue chips and 2 red chips, then we have a lot of information here. We have, on the number line, from 0, we go back -2, and then from there we go +4, and that would land at 2. We can also count 0 pairs. A blue chip cancels out a red chip, and here we have a +2. Here we have a +2, and the equation -2 plus 4 is a +2. Also notice 4 carries more absolute value in the positive than -2 does. So the number that carries more absolute value will help you determine whether your answer is positive or negative. 4 is more positive, so the answer is positive. We'll look at that again as we go through examples. Alright, here we have 4 blue chips in the positive and 5 red chips in the negative. The equation could be -5 plus 4. We can say 0 pairs cancel out to 0. We see we get 1 red chip left. We can also see this on the number line, 0 back to -5. And from -5 going back towards 0 and the positive 4, we're going to land here at -1. That matches our -1 red chip. -5 plus 4 equals -1. 5 carries more absolute value than 4. 5 is negative, so our answer is still negative. We haven't canceled out all that negative with the positive we went back toward the 0 in. All of these are negative. We're adding more negatives. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red chips. And we're going to add 4 red chips. And so we go back -5. We're adding more negative, 4 more negative. We're going to land at -9. And we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 red chips are a -9. And what we see here in the equation is -5 minus 4. When you add the opposite, you can make this minus sign a plus, and you can say that the 4 is negative, just like the 4 red chips represent. You're adding more negative here. So -5 plus -4 more red chips would be -9. Alright, another example of that is we have 2 red chips in the negative, that's -2. We have 3 red chips in the negative, that's -3. Our equation builds right away with the -2 minus 3. We're labeling that 3 negative here because they're red chips. They're a negative value. So it says -2 minus 3. And you can change that so you can see that you're adding more negative to the -2. You're adding opposite, so you can make this a plus sign and attach the negative to the 3. We see that here. So we go back our -2, we're going to add more negative, 3 more units, and we're going to land at -5. That matches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red chips, and the answer to -2 plus -3 is going to equal -5. Okay, you won't have this homework, but that will just help you see a couple of examples. So let's just look at this one for more practice. We have in the equation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red chips. That's labeled as a -7 in the equation. We have 1, 2, 3 blue chips. That's labeled as a +3 in the equation. We can cancel out any 0 pairs here, whatever we see, and we see the 7 carries more absolute value than the 3. The 7 is negative. That means your answer will be negative. If we look on the number line and go back the 7 negative from 0, and then we go in the positive back toward the 0, 1, 2, 3, we're going to land at -4. Does that match? 1, 2, 3, 4 negative red chips are left after the 0 pairs are taken out. Alright, so that's just a little overview on how absolute value matches with integer equations in addition and subtraction, just to kind of think it through and see a visual. I hope this helps, and I'll see you soon.